Okay.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Big Money Stylist. You know what? I was considering changing the name of this podcast.
To what?
High paid hairstylist, because Big Money Stylist is like big money, but no, like it's like Big Money Stylist. Like what is that? Like what kind of stylist? But hairstylist, like high paid hairstylist. I'd be like, I want to be a high paid hairstylist. Like it's so specific to our industry, right?
Yeah, I remember after BMSCon 1, like the picture with you and, you know, my certificate. I was so excited. And my mom was just like, oh, what is that? Big money, Katie.
Yeah.
It's so tacky. And I was like, Mom, you don't even know.
It's tacky, but it grabs your attention. So I'm like, maybe I should keep it. But honestly, okay, so I am Danielle. I'm the creator of Natural Beauty Rose. This is Katie. She's the director of operations. She's the backbone of my company. I call her pageant Katie, but it's funny because she's never actually like front and center. But like when she puts on makeup and does her hair, I'm like, you're like a pageant queen. Like, where did you come from? Like,
I clean up real nice.
You clean up real nice. Like, I'm like, good for you. But we are going to be doing podcasts every single week. And one of my goals, the reason I was like, maybe I should rebrand this and change the name, is because we're going to start collaborating more with our trainers and our internal staff and other people in the hair industry and bringing more voices inside of this podcast specifically to our community.
Yeah, so I feel like the people listening, they might not all know why you want to make this change.
Yeah, and I told Katie, I was like, I'm just going to be super direct. So if you've watched any of our other podcasts, if you're a student inside my academy, we have just under 500 students. I can't believe we have that many.
I know, it's pretty cool.
That's pretty cool. So we have just under 500 students inside the academy. And a lot of our students listen to this podcast every single week. It's usually with myself and my lead coach and trainer, Ani. And recently I made the decision as a business owner that our business relationship had come to an end, that Ani was an amazing human being and she served her purpose inside of my company. I told her when I had to have the tough conversation to let her go that I just was more clear than ever that this was the step I need to make for the better good of my company. I said, you didn't do anything wrong or bad. I just knew like the vision of where I want to go. And I never intended it for it to be just the Danielle show or just the Ani show. And although it started with, my story, like it really was about creating a movement inside of our industry to better serve the artists and to really have an awakening inside of our industry. And I'll just share like really, really quick for those of you that have maybe not heard my story, but it was 11 years ago now that I started the brand of Natural Beauty Rose. And the reason I did it, I've been doing hair. I've been behind the chair for over 20 years. Craziness. Mm-hmm. I started I went to college for one semester and then I was like, oh, this is not for me.
I mean, good for you. I didn't even go.
I literally went, I had, you know what? You want to know why I didn't go do hair? Is because I was like, oh, I don't want to be, I was from Utah and I was like, everybody's a hairstylist. I don't want to be a hairstylist.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yes. It's like the thing. Like there's so many hairstylists that come out of Utah. But anyways, I been behind the chair for 20 years, started my brand over 10 years ago. The reason I started my brand is because my husband and I were like pretty much bankrupt, tapped out every single credit card, couldn't even pay the bills, like literally had like no money. My skill was doing hair and I had this story, well, like I'm a hairdresser, maybe I need to go find a part-time job. Like this isn't going to make ends meet. I had 2 kids. I was on the brink of divorce and I was like, no, there's money inside the hair industry. Like I know there is, right? Mm-hmm. And so I had to really work on myself to shatter the mindset of like, hey, you're just a hairstylist, and really come down to like, okay, well, what's my highest paying service? Well, it's hair extensions. Okay, well, that's what I need to focus on, right? So I went through so much in my career of building a salon, an education team, a hairline, like so much. And so I felt like, okay, my calling, I felt very strongly like, although it started with my story and I had to go through that, my calling is really to elevate the hairstylists.
Yeah, and empower them.
And if I can give them the tool of Natural Beauty Rose, but it's much more than just, I always say, it's much more than pretty hair. It's much more than beads and string. It's much more than just my voice. It's much more than me and Ani's voice. Like I wanted it to be, honestly, a change in our industry. And so one of the things that I'm committed to, although we love Ani, we miss her, I will never talk ill of her. I just knew that it was time for her to move on for my company and her own personal growth. Yeah. And so I'm just going to come straight out and address that for those of you that are students or have listened to the podcast. Again, our business relationship, I 100% know was supposed to come to an end. And I'm excited to bring other people on and for you guys to really showcase your voice and talk about what you're doing.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing. that's really become apparent through the past few days is that we really haven't showcased the entire team.
Mm-hmm.
And as Danielle said, like there's no negative feelings. We're not speaking negatively of Ani at all. And in addition to that, like she was a part of creating everything that the Academy is today.
Mm-hmm.
And by no means is that going away. So we have a lot of students that keep reaching out and they're saying, what's next? What's going to happen? And it's like their world has been shattered.
Right.
And it's so hard because what they don't see is that these things that only had Coach Ani's face on them, like the, whatever it is, the thing that they saw in feedback, they saw it's Coach Ani's name. Coach Ani's giving me feedback on my work. This is amazing, awesome. And they connect with just her. But what they didn't realize is that she's been supported by this team that she built and that she trained this whole time. So as a respect to Ani, we are going to continue.
Right.
And we're going to do a great job at really amplifying the team that's been here this whole time.
Well, and I was we had a team meeting with our trainers this morning, and it's like when you're listening to somebody speak and you're like, I don't like them, they kind of rub me the wrong way, but then somebody can say the same message and communicate it like differently, or their tones differently, or based on like the timing of when it's communicated, that person receives it differently. Like I'll make comments on my social media or whatever, and people will be like, oh, I really needed to hear that today.
Yeah.
Right? And it might be because they're, a mom of kids too, or they're struggling with this too. And it just came at the right moment. And that's really my goal, is bringing more voices on, because you can go it alone, but you can go much further faster as a community and as a tribe. And really it's like, that's what the Academy and my brand is all about, is helping the hairstylist, but not just through me, because I have an ego, trust me, but I don't have a big enough ego to think that only I can communicate this message, right?
Yeah, I mean, the ego can be talked about in a few different ways.
Right.
And ego can be a negative thing, but like we all have an ego and it drives us. And I think it's how you use the ego.
Right. Oh, for sure. Like, it's like, I always tell people, I'm like, the ego is like a friendly reminder. Like, you kind of have like that, have to have that like certainty, right? But you can't let the ego control you to where you're like, think that you're the most awesome person ever.
Okay. Did you see that I posted on Instagram last week?
No, you did?
Yeah, I really did. This is, so this seems funny, but I don't post on Instagram a lot. I don't go on there a lot. And I posted last week, and I posted a picture of myself where I look so good.
I did see that. And I was like, get it, girl.
I look so good.
Pageant Katie was out.
Rachel like threw a good face app filter on me, and I look so good. And my caption was, do you remember it?
It was like, own all of you, or be, I can't remember.
I'm a bitch. I'm a boss.
Oh, there you go.
I'm a bitch and a boss, and I shine like gloss.
Did you really say that whole thing?
I posted that.
Oh,
I posted
good.
the lyric.
Good for you.
And again, it's, like, I don't think my mom likes it when I post things saying bitch on social media. But I hesitated, and I'm actually a little sweaty even like talking about it. I hesitated to post it.
Yeah.
But I was like, no.
You
I
have
was
to
like,
say
I
it.
have grown and I am this person, and this ego has transformed within me, and it's not a bad thing. Like, I am a bitch and I am a boss and I fucking shine like gloss.
Can I tell you, I love when women are like feeling themselves. Like, I'm like, get it, girl, get it. Like, I just like, I love that. It's like, I love seeing, like, I don't think of it as ego. I think of it as like, yeah, showcase your brilliance. I think that so many of us like are like, I'm worried about what people think. I feel weird. I feel awkward. I don't want to show who I am. I'm like, you show who you are. You need to show the world who you are. And that's how they will find value in you, is because you just put yourself out there, and you should be feeling yourself and feeling like gloss. I don't even know if that's a TikTok or a rhyme or whatever.
I know. Honestly, I said the lyric wrong the first time I said it. And thankfully, Rachel and Courtney just let me sing it wrong.
If you said it wrong, I would like that even more about you, because I'd be like, get it, girl. And it's like kind of nerdy in a way. You're like, you didn't even get the lyrics right, but I can resonate with that because I don't even know what the lyrics are.
I know, but then we make them up. Okay, so here, to stay on our topic here, how do you tap in to that inner boss? How do you tap into the good part of that ego to propel you forward?
I have a theory on this. So, and I was telling my husband Garrett about this the other day. I said, everybody like searches for like a high in life, right? Like, it's part of growing. Like, I work out almost every day because I love tapping into that high. But I genuinely feel, and I don't know how to like describe this. The best way I can just describe it is I weaponize my body so that the message can pour through me and bypass the ego. Like I don't know how to, like, I want to, I want to biohack and like be open to where I'm like on fire and I'm in that high where I can receive like revelation and I see things more clearly. I can see things in my company. I can see things in people. I'm like, oh my God, like, because I did the work on my side, I was open to receiving this message that now I can communicate to my staff and to my students, right?
For sure.
So I think to me, like, it's important. That to me is like really like looking for that high and surrendering that ego so that the message can pour through you. And I believe that everybody can tap into that high. That high was never your high. You just have to prepare yourself to receive. And I call it as like revelation, but it sounds kind of churchy. But do you know what I mean? Like,
I mean, it is kind of churchy.
It is, but
even
it's
the
like
same thing as like the message.
inspired.
You're like, you were
like
speaking to me.
Yeah, you were speaking. Like everybody in your life at some point or another, whether you're religious or not, there's times where you hear a very clear message or voice or prompt and you're like, wow. And it rings into your soul, right? Mm-hmm. And I believe it's because you've done the work to be open to receiving that message to help other people. Mm-hmm. Like the end. Like, and that to me is truly like what this life is about, is helping propel other people forward. And in turn, you end up helping yourself too, because of the person you become and the person you grow to become.
Yeah. I feel the same way. And I think exercise is a great metaphor for this, because it's forcing you to breathe. Right. And it's forcing you to breathe hard. So if you think about it, like if you woke up today and you had anxiety and, you know, you could have just gone into your day with anxiety and negative feelings and whatnot, but then you went down to the beach and you ran. Yeah. And you took these deep breaths. And on the exhale, you're literally like releasing that anxiety and that stress, which all that is a block for your brain. Yep. And you're not going to be able to function the same if you don't get rid of that and clear your plate. And
it's like, to me, like, again, and I use the metaphor of working out, because like even this morning I was like, oh, I didn't sleep good last night. And I'm like, I knew I had team meetings. I knew I had a podcast. I knew I had to share, I had to educate, I had to communicate. And I'm like, I can't go into my day feeling all brain foggy. So how can I weaponize my body to where I like get rid of that fog, so to speak, right? Mm-hmm. So I got my ass up, got the kids going, got the household going. It was like so negative this morning. It's all gloomy here. And I'm like, no, you're going to get your ass on that spin bike and you're going to sweat out the demons.
Seriously. Have you heard that saying? It's like, to activate your mind, you first have to activate your body.
I believe that. Yeah. Like there's something that unlocks that you can literally be like, okay. And the days that you feel like the most crappy or you don't want to do it, those are the days that you need to do it.
Oh, yeah.
Because you have to set yourself up for success. And if you do that daily, and it doesn't have to be working out, like everybody has their different way of like setting their intentions for the day, right? Yeah. Mine just happens to be working out. It clears my brain. It makes me feel positive. It makes me feel awake. It just like, it's a quick start to my day. You know, Garrett gets up every morning. He stacks for like 45. I mean, he's got like I swear that man needs like 3 hours to be ready for the day. I'm like, I need 45 minutes.
Yeah. 3 hours is a lot.
But
that's a whole client.
Yeah. It's like, it takes him 3 hours to get the mental clarity. I'm like, I got it in like 45 minutes, babe. I got 4 kids and 3 nannies and yeah, I don't have 3 hours.
I'm like, and then your kids wake up early and you're like, no, I don't have enough time. That doesn't work for me.
But you guys, I just want to say, like, I'm super excited for the direction that we're going just with the academy. And really, like, I actually did a message inside of Workplace and I was like, you guys, I promise you I'm done having kids. I made my husband go get snipped. Because I felt like the last few years, like, it wasn't like I wasn't involved, but I was definitely like dividing my time, like mom mode and work time. And I feel like I'm in this place of like, it's a new season.
Yeah. And I mean, I know I told you this and I don't really know how to describe it, but it's almost like the Danielle that I met is back. And it's like, you know, when you got pregnant with Isla and then Charlie shortly thereafter, like all of your capacity was given towards growing these humans and you really like didn't have anything left to give.
Yeah. I know. Being pregnant there is a fogginess about it.
I mean, I did not enjoy being pregnant either time. I was not one of those women. And I just feel like it literally sucks.
And it's crazy too, because like I said, I thought I was done having kids after my 2 kids. And then I was like, I feel like I have one more. And my business was stable enough to where I was like, okay, I can have one more. And then it turned into 2 more. But right.
Charlie was such a surprise.
I remember
when you
perfect.
found out.
I was
remember
crying.
when you told me.
I was like,
do you remember when you told me?
No.
Oh my God. It was during a virtual experience, which our office is here. We're actually inside a portion of one of the offices right now. And next door to us is the full studio where we have our virtual experiences led from. And Danielle just came over here to use the bathroom and was walking back out over there. And she just goes, "Oh yeah, by the way, I'm pregnant." And I was like, "What?" What? And she was like, "Yeah, that's my reaction too." Okay, bye.
I was still processing it. Like it was a surprise. But now I'm like, oh my God, she's so yummy. Like
she is.
She's so yummy. She's like my only kid that I'm like, oh, you're my little soul. Like she's like brown hair. She looks like me. She's so chill. She's like the best baby. So part of me is like, oh my God, like but that chapter is done, right? And I'm like, okay, well, I'm glad I had all my little humans. I love my family, but ultimately, like I love what I do, and I know how to create pretty good balance. And I have the team members, the foundation, the trainers to where if I didn't have you guys and I had 4 kids, like I'd have gone nuts. So timing plays such a huge role in life. And I'm like, I have the support at home and I have the support in my business. So now I can be both involved with my kids and be involved in my business. And it's a really cool space to be in. And stepping back into the picture, it was almost like, okay, again, like going back to like my vision has always been collectively like raising the vibration of hairstylists and making an impact in our industry. And because I'm so passionate about that, I'm so excited to showcase the trainers and bring them on and have them share more of their stories of why they're here, what has impacted them in their lives, and really have them kind of like pay it forward for the next future artists, like honestly.
Yeah, and I think that's so great. And like Danielle said earlier, there are going to be many guests coming on, and you guys are going to get to know all of them. If you have suggestions of a name, if you think Danielle should change it or shouldn't change it, I desperately would like to know your opinions.
Yes, message us, email us.
The funnier, the better, probably.
I feel like it's a new season of rebrand. Like I literally was like, what would I call it? And I'm like, because I've never loved the Big Money Stylist. You know who created that name?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, it was my husband. It was my husband. He's like, we're gonna call it Big Money Stylist. In fact, that was like the name. We changed it to business marketing and sales, but like my business portion of Natural Beauty Rose was called Big Money Stylist, and I was like, I don't love it, but it got a lot of attention and attraction. But now I'm at the point where I'm like, it's a little cheesy. I don't know. Do
you want to know what I think of every time I hear it?
What?
Big money.
Yeah, same. I'm always like, I kind of laugh now, but I really do. I may change it, you guys. High paid hairstylist. How do you feel about that? Like if I saw that, I would probably listen.
I don't know. Something about it reminds me a little bit of like
somebody already got that name.
I mean, no, it reminds me just like a high paid escort.
Damn it!
Like just because I don't know. I'm not attached to it. I'm not disattached to it. I want to throw out some more ideas.
I'm trying to think of like something that sounds like bougie then, like, but you can't use bougie because that's a trendy word. I don't know.
That would be hilarious.
Message us. Tell us what you think would be a good name for the rebranding of the Big Money Stylist podcast.
Or if you love
you love big money, like we love big money.
We should just get a background with like dollar signs.
Just dollar bills, like a dollar. We do have a money gun that we use inside of our virtual experience. Katie, share it really quickly. I mean, we've got a few minutes left. Like I'd like you to share a little bit of your story. Like
which one?
Like dig deep a little bit. Like I shared a little bit of my story of like, hey, I couldn't put food on the table. I couldn't pay the bills. I was just a hairstylist. I had to get going. Like what is it that attracted you to be in the position that you're at? And why do you feel called to be here?
I mean,
not to put the pressure on you, but
no, but you know me. I could tell stories for days, you guys. So, and I always have to like get my thoughts in line. Otherwise, you don't want to know what's going to come out of my mouth. It'll just be a bunch of nonsense. I actually, this morning, I was thinking about how grateful I am, and really how without intentional, well, I guess it is intentional, but without realizing it, like I have an incredible life. I started doing hair in 2004, and I worked at the same salon for pretty much my entire career. I have done hair for celebrities. I've done New York Fashion Week 16 times.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, 16 times. I've done hair for the Oscars, the Grammys. One of the coolest things is I got to do a photo shoot with these designers, and it was in the Huntington Library Gardens in LA, and it was on the day that they were closed. It's only open to like the facilities workers that day. So we were literally inside the bamboo forest, like doing hair for this photo shoot that was on the cover of Time magazine.
Oh, cool.
And I was like, I hope that they don't realize how small I am and not ever invite me back here because I don't know how I got here, but this is awesome. So anyways, I've had these really cool experiences, and when I applied at DKW, you have to submit a video. So story or a small amount of backstory of how I came to NBR Education.
I'm trying to remember. I'm sure I watched your video.
You did. I signed up for BMSCon 1 that was at the end of 2017. And I attended. I said no, changed my mind to yes. That's a whole nother podcast we could record. About 9 months later, I applied to work at DKW Salon. And you have to submit a video. And I think I recorded it 67 times. I had 67 files that I deleted when I finally had the right one. And really, like, I remember the video because I remember you were supposed to talk about like why you wanted to be here. And it really made me look inside and say, well, why? You have a full clientele. You know NBR. You live 12 minutes away. Like, it wouldn't be that big of a move, but like, why do you want to do this? And you've done these other things. It's not that you like need to like be seen. I knew that wasn't something that I needed, but it was why do you want to do this? And the answer was because I genuinely believe in the impact that we have, and I wanted to be a part of impacting more. I wanted to be a part of spreading that. I just wanted to be involved in any way, shape, and form because I felt that voice inside me, and it was like, this is where you're supposed to go. This is what you are supposed to do. And I just followed that voice, which sometimes is very, very hard. But I feel like, so where I'm at this morning, driving to work, and I'm thinking about this video, and I'm thinking about what's changed in the 4 years since I submitted that video. And everything has just continued to expand in this really awesome way. And without me even realizing it, now here I stand as Director of Operations, and I have a team of people that I work with that not only motivate me to be a better person and to achieve more and to do more in life, but we are all aligned in our vision and our mission to impact more. And I don't know, it's like the coolest, fastest train in the entire world. And I just feel so much momentum, and I'm just so grateful to be a part of it.
And I think it's cool, like, just to hear you, like, share stories like that, because honestly, like, who I've seen you become, and, like, we talk about this all the time in our company, we're, like, leaning in, and, like, something you might be like, oh, that's not my strength, that's not me, like, you felt called to be here, and then so you've become such a phenomenal person, like, not only, like, believing in the vision, but, like, the skills that you've learned, right? Skills that you probably, no, I'm serious, like, you're kind of like me in the sense that, like, we had to, like, we're kind of geeky and kind of nerdy. And I think I had such a hard time breaking that mindset of like, I'm just a stylist. I'm not smart. You're just a woman. Like, I had all these things like weighing on me so heavily to almost be like, no, you are smart.
Yeah.
Like, and just because you don't know how to do this doesn't mean you can't figure it out. And that's really what I've seen in you as one of your strengths is you were kind of like, no, I can figure out how to do this. And I will, and I must, because this will help other people. And I think that's really like what sets you apart inside of my company is that you believe enough and to be like, no, fuck that. Like, you are smart. You can do this. So that's like one of the things I've really seen in you. And like, I love watching team members kind of evolve. And like, I love how you just described it as like a train, because I believe that we're all on this same level of frequency, right? And that's truly how to create a strong foundation and a strong team is everybody has to be on the same frequency. And if they're not, they will let themselves go. Like, that's just how it is. Like, if you're not plowing together, somebody becomes a bit of an anchor. You know what I mean? And so to build a strong foundation, to build strong team members, it's so important that everybody aligns with the vision. And like I said, like, that's just like one of the things I really admired about you is because I think I was the same way in the sense that I was like, who am I to think I can have this success or make this impact? And then part of me was like, no, fuck that. Like, who am I not to believe in myself enough? And I will figure it out along the way. I just have to have enough courage to go. So you guys, we're getting ready to wrap up this podcast, but like, honestly, I feel like we had like a lot of different topics, but they were all really, really good. And I would ask you guys to ask yourself, where are you lacking the courage to go? Honestly, what is your roadblock? What is getting in the way of you creating whatever success looks like for you? And I can promise you there is an abundant amount of success and people that you can impact by just asking yourself, where do I need to let go? Where do I need to believe in myself more? Where do I need to have more faith and more courage? And in doing so, believing in yourself really has such an impact on others. Just like Katie said, like she didn't know why she needed to be here, but she jumped in full force. And I can promise you the impact, whether you guys don't see it behind the scenes, is a massive impact on my personal company. So
yeah, and I feel like I want to share this right now, but for any of you who are like, well, what do you mean she's grown? She's a different person or whatever. Like, I am a hairstylist by trade. I went to college and took ceramics and
same.
Oh yeah, I love ceramics. We are kind of similar. Yeah. But I came to DKW as a stylist, and I then started working in events for NBR Education. And then I literally just saw a need and I saw holes, and I just dedicated myself to filling those gaps because it's never enough for me. And the team here knows this. I will always strive to do better each and every time, because if I don't have that drive to do better, then why am I even here?
Right.
So where I stand today, like I build web pages and automations and like stuff like that I didn't even understand 5 years ago.
Right.
And I still don't understand fully now, but I don't give a because I'm going to figure it out.
And you're willing to feel uncomfortable, right? I think we become the expert in our craft or our trade. You said I'm a hairstylist by trade. And we're like, well, I can just be the best artist. Well, that's great. But you're only going to have so much success just being the best artist. You have to become so much more than you even know. And that's one of the things that we teach inside the academy. Yeah. Breaking the mind shift, but adapting these new skills that are more than just a hairstylist by trade. Now you know how to drive traffic. You know how to get leads. You know how to do business marketing and sales. You know how to do social media marketing that's effective.
And you feel powerful.
Yeah, and you do. Like if you label yourself just the hairstylist, you're only going to feel so powerful in that label. But if all of a sudden you're like, holy shit, like I can build web pages. I know how to market. I know I'm an entrepreneur. Like all these titles equate to like, you're like, I'm a powerful human being. Wow. Yes, hair is my trade, but look who I've become. And I think whether you do hair or you don't, sometimes you have to ask yourself, what is the skill in front of me right now? And who can I become with using this skill and evolving this skill into much more? So you guys, we're gonna end this podcast. I feel like that was a good note to close on. But I look forward to another episode every week. We usually release them on Tuesdays. Might be high paid hairstylist, might be Big Money Stylist. If you're a hairstylist and this message resonates to you, we do a virtual experience on natural beauty row hair extensions, as well as the business marketing and sales exclusively taught inside of our academy. This is the perfect like segue into like what is NBR, what is natural beauty rows. We would invite you to join our next virtual experience, which I don't even know the date, but where October. What website did they go to? NBR.education still?
Yeah.
Okay, so go over
you can go to Instagram and click the link.
Or you can go to Instagram. I feel like everybody's on Instagram. So either way, we would love to invite you guys to our next event. We promise it is like nothing else you've experienced with education inside of our industry. And we look forward to sharing new guests every single week on the High Paid Big Money Hairstylist Something podcast. We'll see you guys next week.
Bye.